Yeah.
Real quick, yes, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna record.
So-
Put it right there.
So in Scripture, you're able to find out the birth of the Messiah. And the way you're able to find out the birth of the Messiah is you read Luke chapter 1. In Luke chapter 1, we have a guy by the name Zacharias. And Zacharias was the father of John the Baptist. Zacharias executed the priestly office according to the course of Abia. Now, who is Abia? Without reading the Old Testament, we wouldn't know who Abia is. But because we do read the Old Testament, because we follow Torah and we believe that the Old and New are cohorted together, we know that King David in 1 Chronicles chapter 24 divided a group of men in order to execute the functions of the temple. Now, in 1 Chronicles chapter 24, he begins dividing these group of men. It says, "Now the first lot came forth to Jehoram, and the second to Jedediah." Behind me, right here, I wrote the solar calendar in red and the Hebrew calendar in blue. Because we go by the lunar calendar, and because Scripture states that the first biblical Hebrew month begins in April, I numbered April with number 1 here. So when we reckon these scriptural months, we'll reckon them in the Hebrew calendar, not in the solar calendar. So in verse 7 it says, "Now the first lot came forth to Jehoram, and the second to Jedediah." So we're going to divide this month into a half. The first priest would do the first half of this month, and the second priest would do the second half of this month. The second lot came to Jedediah. The third lot came to Harim. The fourth to Serorim. The fifth to Malchiah. The sixth to Mihamim. The seventh to Hakoz, and the 8th to Abia. So it is right here in the 4th month of the Hebrew calendar that was the course of Abia.
July, right?
In our solar month, July. Now what's incredible about this name is we have a conjunction word in the Hebrew. We have Av, which is, and then we have Yah. So this word right here, this name means Father Yah. So that's kind of critical. So let's jump back to Luke chapter 1. So we know that it was during this 4th Hebrew month, during the latter half of it, that Zacharias went in to the temple to execute the functions under the order of Abia right here. Okay. So verse 7. Luke chapter 1, verse 8. "And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Elohim in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense, and he went into the temple of Yahweh. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of the incense. And an angel appeared. And when Zacharias saw the angel, he was troubled, and he fell upon his face. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. And thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John or Yohanan. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth." I'm going to jump down a couple verses. Verse 18, "And Zacharias said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? I am an old man, and my wife was stricken in her years." Verse 19, "And the angel answering him said, I am Gabriel, that stands in the presence of Elohim, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not be able to speak until the days that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not in my words, and which shall be fulfilled in that season." Verse 21, "And the people waited for Zacharias, and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple." And jump down to verse 23. "And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministrations were accomplished, he departed to his own house. And after those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself for 5 months. So he finished his course right here. After he finished, his wife Elizabeth was conceived and she was hid for 5 months. We know that a healthy baby boy is conceived in 9 months, right? Okay, but the key verse right here is verse 24. After those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself 5 months. So from here, we're going to count 5 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now verse 26. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from Elohim unto the city of Galilee, named Nazareth. So we're going to jump to the 6th month. To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So right here, we're in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. An angel appears to Mary, or Miriam in the Hebrew, and he tells her, all right, you're going to be impregnated. Impregnated with who? With the Mashiach of the world.
Yahushua.
So from this point, because we know that a healthy baby boy is born in 9 months, we're going to count 9. Does everyone understand why at this point? So we're going to count 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here we are in the 7th biblical month, which is the month of Tishri, and which so happens to be the same month that the Feast of Tabernacles is in. In John chapter 1, it says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us. Or, in the more Hebrew, the Word became flesh and dwelt in tabernacled among us. So through Scripture with Luke chapter 1, 1 Chronicles chapter 24, you can reckon the birth of the Messiah.
Amen.
Which is pretty interesting.
Then he would put 9 months backwards. It's like Hanukkah, no?
Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Who's
From here?
Yeah, from birth. Yeah. 9 months. Then Hanukkah, that's the candlelight stuff. That's Yeshua.
the light coming to the
The
world?
dedication, the rededication,
Yeah.
the dedication to the temple, the Jewish temple that Maccabees, Jewish Maccabees.
Yeah,
But to us, Yeshua's
the light of the world coming.
What is it, John 8, that Yeshua is walking in the temple at the Feast of Dedication in winter? It tells us, I think it's only 2 verses.
When he tells them, I ain't our one.
And he's at the temple.
Yeah. The destroyed temple at Solomon, the porch. They're celebrating Hanukkah right there and there.
Yeah.
I also want to add the fact that he died in Pesach. He was born in tabernacles. You know,
He was
he's gonna come.
conceived in Hanukkah.
He was conceived in Hanukkah. I have reason to believe is he's coming back in Yom Teruah, and one Yom Teruah. Sound of the blast.
Because the feasts in the Old Testament were a foreshadow of the Messiah. We have something what are called the latter rains and the former rains.
And it tells you when he comes out, they're not catch you naked. You know? So like if he catches us in a feast or something, he's gonna be doing this.
People like to say you will not know the day. In Matthew chapter 24 it says, you will not know the day or hour when Mashiach will come. Yeah, we don't know the specific day or the hour. In 1 Thessalonians it says, but you will know the times and the seasons. The reason why it's so important for us to know the feast, for us to watch after the moon, is because Mashiach will return in a time and in a season that we will be awaiting him, which will most likely be in a feast, will most likely be on the Shabbat, or most likely will be on the new moon. Because those are the days that we're supposed to look towards the heavens for signs. We're supposed to be awaiting for something.
If you think about it right now, and then just come in at chapter 24 of Matthew, it's more of a Torah. It's Torah, that's what he is telling them.
Pretty much.
And if you consider right now our brothers, Orthodox Jews, and everybody that's waiting for Mashiach, it's Yeshua Yahushua'S
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I think I was reading a study. It says first it's supposed to be Ben Yosef,
Ben Yosef, Ben David.
and then Ben David. They're coming the second. Well, to our brothers, it's his first coming. To
Yeah.
us, it would be his
The
second
second.
coming.
Yeah.
But we understand the Ben David part,
Yeah.
and to them, they
Mashiach,
wouldn't
Ben David.
understand the Ben Yosef.
Josh said something about, well, the Bible mentions it, that nobody knows the day nor the hour. Pharisee tradition towards Yom Teruah is to call Yom Teruah the day that no man knows, because it's a celebration that goes on for 3 days. That's why I have reason to believe that he may come back on a Yom Teruah, because there's going to be a trumpet blast, and there's no other feast unless it's Yom Kippur. But Yom Kippur is when we get already restored already. We have a new body, so that's already in heaven. So
That's
I
in
believe,
the kingdom.
yeah, it's a new kingdom. So I believe we're gonna experience a Yom Teruah in His second coming, because similar to that, the Pharisees, the Orthodox, the Hasidim, they know the day of Yom Teruah as what is it? The New Year, so to say.
The civil New Year.
But Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah.
But at the same time, they have changed, distorted the name of the feast so much that they call it the day that no man knows. And that's why Mashiach said that I will come on the day that no man knows. Because I believe he was letting people know, I'm coming pretty much on the day of feast, that
Yom Teruah.
Yom Teruah, you know, the trumpets.
And that makes so much sense, because in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 52, it says at the shout, or at the blast of the trumpet, the dead will rise and the old will become new, and the corruptible will become incorruptible.
Amen.
That's what our brothers. That's what they believe. That's
Yeah.
what they know.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh Yahushua. Amen.
What did Sister Ness have something to say?
No?
No.
Comment? Elaborate? Okay.
No, it was just
We're gonna have to
agreeing
edit
because. No, it was just agreeing because I was doing some research on that also, the Yom Teruah,
Yom Teruah.
Feast of Trumpets, and I agree with that Yeshua is going to come
On the Feast of
most
Trumpets.
likely on that feast.
That's the beauty of the thing that most of our Christian brothers don't really understand or know, because they think the feast has been done away with. It was just a foreshadow. Yeah, it's still a foreshadow, because there's another coming. There's a second coming. So they haven't stopped being a foreshadow. There's still a foreshadow, because his coming is near. It's the second coming, you know?
Yeah, you have the feast. You have 7 feasts, and you have what are called the former rains, and then you have what are called the latter rains. The former rains are 3 feasts that have already been fulfilled, but the last 4 are what we here in this present age are waiting for. And each feast points to the Mashiach.
Amen.
That's why we're supposed to keep the feast and know the times and seasons, because it's been so, like, the chances are so rare for something critical or very important scripturally to happen on a feast, but they've happened 3 times,
Yeah.
multiple times. The odds are just going to continue to roll in that favor.
Especially on the
for the
blood
latter
moons. The
rains.
blood moons this year, on Shemitah year, on the 4 most important feast of Yah's ordained times, you know. Like, it just connects. It just clicks.
And they say that they might have something happening.
On
This is the last
yeah,
blood
the
moon.
last blood moon, and it's closing. Well, aren't we going into Jubilee year? Right, we're finishing pretty much, right?
Are we going into
The Shemitah year, we're finishing the Shemitah year.
Huh? Well, the Shemitah year ends pretty much.
According
It
to-
closes.
According to Jonathan Kahn, he's done some research on cycles, and he believes that this is just according to Jonathan Kahn, that we are in the 7th year, which is a Shemitah year, and in September, Rosh Hashanah,
Yom Teruah.
on Yom Teruah, that 7th year will be done and over with, and it'll begin the new year, the start of the first year of the Shemitah. But I don't know. They say that no man knows the year of the Jubilee.
That's
say
hard.
that.
We're not in Israel no more.
They
It's
say
kind of
that.
hard. But yeah, it's
But we do
it's
have reason to
supposedly
believe
that
it's
it's the
shitty to you.
50th. Yeah, so it's kind of a lot comes to play. So praise Yahweh, bro. Yahweh, Hashem,
Praise Him.
thanks for Josh for sharing that. And
Be careful.